The mess hall went silent. Maya Chen stood perfectly still as 2 meters of scaled muscle circled her. Vex the Krell moved with that distinctive predator grace. His species wore like a birthright, claws clicking against the polished floor. His amber eyes tracked every breath she took. "You sit in my spot, mammal," he growled, voice like grinding stone. She looked up from her tray, fork still in hand. "Funny, I don't see your name on it." The nearby tables emptied fast, chairs scraped, trays clattered. Even the Draxian cadets, themselves no strangers to violence, backed away from what was about to happen. At the instructor's platform, Commander Thane rose halfway from his seat, hand hovering over the neural disruptor at his belt. Vex leaned closer. His breath reeked of the raw Keltac meat he preferred. Rows of serrated teeth gleamed under the artificial lights. "Everything here belongs to the strong. You are prey. Weak. Soft." Maya set down her fork with deliberate care. "That's your species crawled from dirt. Mine ruled empires, while yours banged rocks together." His tail lashed behind him, the classic Krell dominance display. "You do not belong at the Galactic Defense Academy." And yet, she met his eyes without flinching. "Here I am." The mess hall held its breath. 300 cadets from 40 different worlds watched as the human refused to break eye contact with one of the galaxy's apex predators. This was suicide. Everyone knew it. Humans were fragile. Their homeworld gravity was pathetic. They had no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. They were the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel, barely 70 years out from their own solar system. They were nobody. Vex's crest flared crimson. The Krell only showed that color when preparing to kill. His claws extended fully, each one capable of punching through reinforced steel. "Last chance, soft thing. Move, or I will make you move." Maya smiled. "Nice try." Then she went back to eating. The Krell stared at her like she'd just sprouted a second head. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. Nobody had ever dismissed him before. Not even other Krell. The confusion lasted exactly 3 seconds before rage replaced it. His roar shook the walls. Cadets dove for cover. Instructors shouted. Vex's claws came up, aiming for Maya's throat. They never connected. She moved like water flowing uphill. One moment sitting, the next standing behind him, her hand gripping the base of his tail. The Vex's eyes went wide. That particular pressure point was a closely guarded secret of Krell anatomy, known only to their own kind and a handful of xenobiologists. Strike it correctly and the entire nervous system locked up. "Sit down, Vex." Her voice stayed conversational, pleasant, even. "Eat your lunch. Try this again and I will not be gentle." She released him and returned to her seat. The Krell collapsed, his legs giving out. It took him 30 seconds to regain motor control. When he finally hauled himself upright, humiliation burned in his eyes. The entire academy had just watched a human half his size handle him like a misbehaving child. He slunk away without another word. Commander Thane approached slowly, his silver skin reflecting the overhead lights. The Valorian was old, even by his species standards, and his 3 eyes missed nothing. "That was quite the display, Cadet." "He started it, sir." "Indeed." Thane's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Though I suspect you were hoping he would." Maya returned to her meal like nothing had happened. Around her, conversation gradually resumed, though now every eye in the room tracked her movements. She'd been at the academy for 6 weeks. This was the first time most of her classmates had seen her do anything except keep her head down and ace every written exam. The whispers started before she'd finished eating. "Did you see that? How did she know where to grab? Humans are supposed to be weak. Maybe this one's different." Maya ignored them all. She'd heard worse. Much worse. Being the only human in a class of 300 meant enduring constant underestimation, casual cruelty, and the occasional death threat. The Galactic Council had admitted Earth to the wider community only 5 years ago. Most species still viewed humanity as primitive upstarts who'd gotten lucky with warp drive technology. They had no idea how wrong they were. After lunch, Maya headed to her quarters in the junior barracks. The academy sat on Viridian Prime, a neutral world chosen specifically because it advantaged no single species. The architecture reflected that compromise, a blend of angular Draxian efficiency and flowing Aquarian curves. Her room was small, barely 3 meters square, but it was hers. The door slid shut behind her. She pulled off her uniform jacket and stared at the mirror. Dark eyes stared back, short black hair, a scar running from her left ear to her jawline, barely visible unless you knew to look. She was 23 standard years old and had already lived 3 lifetimes. Her comm unit chirped. A message from Commander Thane, my office. Now, she'd expected this. Thane's office occupied the top floor of the central tower. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the Academy grounds. Obstacle courses, combat arenas, shuttle pads, all of it gleaming in the afternoon sun. Behind his desk, the commander studied her with those unsettling 3 eyes. Sit. She sat. Where did you learn Krell physiology? He asked, without preamble. Research, sir. The pressure point you used is not public knowledge. I am thorough. His mandibles clicked rapidly, the Valorian equivalent of a sigh. You are also holding back.
Your test scores indicate genius-level intellect.
Your physical assessments show peak human conditioning, yet you deliberately underperform in every practical exercise. Maya said nothing. Why? Then leaned forward. You could be top of your class. Instead, you hide. Why? Permission to speak freely, sir. Granted. Because being exceptional makes you a target. She kept her voice level. Every species here already thinks humans are inferior. Proving them wrong would only increase the hostility. So you sabotage yourself to avoid attention. Thane's central eye narrowed. That seems counterproductive for someone attending the most prestigious military academy in known space. Survival is never counterproductive. True. He pulled up a holographic display. Her file appeared, rotating slowly. Maya Chen, aged 23. Born on Earth, New Singapore District. Graduated top of her class from the Terran Provisional Academy. Recommended for Galactic Defense Academy by 3 separate admirals, though your file suggests you are no stranger to taking risks. Her jaw tightened. That was different. How so? Those risks were calculated. And today's confrontation was not. She almost smiled. Today was an opportunity. Vex has been circling me for weeks, looking for weakness. Better to establish boundaries now than wait for him to escalate. Thane studied her for a long moment. You remind me of someone. Sir? An old friend. Human. Like you. She had that same look in her eyes. Like she was always 3 moves ahead of everyone else. His voice softened. She died during the Frontier Wars. Saved my entire unit. We would have nominated her for the Star of Valor, but Earth was not yet part of the Council. She received no recognition for her sacrifice. Maya's breath caught. The Frontier Wars had ended 9 years ago. The conflict between the Krell Dominion and the Valorian Collective had nearly torn the galaxy apart. Earth had been neutral, officially, but thousands of human volunteers had joined both sides as mercenaries, medics and pilots. Her mother had been one of them. What was her name? Maya asked quietly. Captain Sarah Chen. Did you know her? The world tilted. Maya gripped the armrest to keep from falling. She was my mother. Thane's 3 eyes widened. For several seconds, neither spoke. The only sound was the distant hum of shuttle engines outside. I did not know Sarah had a daughter. She kept it quiet. Safer that way. Maya forced herself to breathe normally. How did she die? Honorably. Thane's voice carried the weight of old grief. We were pinned down on Keltar Station. Krell assault teams had breached our perimeter. Sarah volunteered to hold the eastern corridor while we evacuated civilians. She knew it was a suicide mission. She did it anyway. And you left her. We followed orders. She gave them. His mandibles trembled. Not a day passes that I do not regret that decision. Maya stood abruptly. Is that all, sir? Cadet Chen. Is that all? Thane seemed to age before her eyes. Dismissed. She left before the tears could start. The next 3 days passed in a blur. Classes. Training. Meals eaten alone. Maya went through the motions on autopilot while her mind churned. Commander Thane had known her mother, had watched her die, had carried that guilt for 9 years, and now Maya trained under him, and he had no idea she'd spent 9 years hunting the truth. On the 4th day, everything changed. The alarm caught everyone during evening drills. Klaxons wailed across the academy grounds. Red emergency lights bathed everything in crimson. Commander Thane's voice boomed from every speaker. All cadets to emergency stations. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Hostile forces have entered the system. Battle stations immediately. Maya ran with the others toward the armory. Around her, cadets shouted questions, their voices rising in panic. The Galactic Defense Academy had never been attacked. It was neutral ground, protected by treaties older than most civilizations. Someone had just broken those treaties. The armory was chaos. 300 cadets trying to gear up simultaneously while instructors barked orders. Maya grabbed a standard plasma rifle and tactical vest, moving with practiced efficiency. Around her, the Krell cadets were showing their true colors, all pretense of civilization falling away as they snarled and snapped at anyone in their path. Vex shoved a smaller Aquarian cadet aside. Move, fish. The Aquarian hit the floor hard, his respirator cracking. Without it, he would suffocate in minutes. His gills flared desperately. Maya dropped her rifle and caught Vex's arm. Help him. Why would I? Vex's eyes gleamed with malicious glee. The weak die. That is nature. She twisted his arm, applying pressure to the joint. Help him, or I break this. You would not dare. But uncertainty crept into his voice. Maya increased the pressure. Krell bones were dense, incredibly strong. But joints were joints. Apply enough force in the right direction, and even apex predators broke. Try me. Vex snarled, but grabbed a spare respirator from a nearby rack and tossed it to the drowning Aquarian. Maya released him and retrieved her rifle. Outside, the sky burned. 3 Krell warships descended through the atmosphere, their hulls scorched from atmospheric entry. They were old models, decommissioned decades ago. Someone had reactivated them and filled them with troops. Dropships peeled away from the main vessels, heading straight for the academy. Was an invasion. Defensive positions. Commander Thane appeared, already in full combat armor. His plasma cannon hummed to life. Cadets, fall back to the central tower. Instructors, with me. Maya moved with her classmates toward the tower. But something felt wrong. This attack was too coordinated, too precise. Someone had planned this carefully, timing it for maximum chaos when most cadets would be outside for drills. Someone who knew the academy's schedules. The first dropship landed in the main courtyard. Its ramp lowered and Krell warriors poured out. These were not soldiers. They wore scavenged armor and carried outdated weapons. Pirates, perhaps, or mercenaries. Then Maya saw the symbol on their armor and her blood ran cold. The Claw of Keltar, a Krell extremist group that had operated during the Frontier Wars. They believed in Krell supremacy above all else, and had committed atrocities across a dozen worlds. The Valorian collective had supposedly wiped them out 9 years ago, on Keltar Station, where her mother had died. Understanding hit like a physical blow. This was not a random attack, this was revenge. The Claw had survived, regrouped, and now they were here for the commander who had destroyed their stronghold. They were here for Thane, and Maya was standing between them and their target. The lead warrior spotted her and laughed. Look, brothers, a human. How adorable. His companions raised their weapons. Maya smiled coldly. Hi there. Let me introduce myself properly. She dropped her rifle and pulled 2 combat knives from her vest. Standard issue, monomolecular edges, capable of cutting through most armor if you knew where to strike. And Maya knew exactly where to strike. I am Cadet Maya Chen. She rolled her shoulders, settling into a fighting stance her mother had taught her years ago. Daughter of Captain Sarah Chen, who killed 47 of your brothers on Keltar Station before you finally brought her down. The warriors froze. You remember her, don't you? Maya's voice dropped to something darker, something that had been building for 9 years. The human who held an entire corridor against your assault teams. The one who kept fighting even after you'd shot her 16 times. The lead warrior's eyes widened in recognition. You are the ghost's daughter. I prefer to think of her as Mom. Maya lunged forward. But yeah, that works too. The first warrior died before he could raise his weapon. Maya's knife found the gap between his helmet and chest plate, the monomolecular edge slicing through scale and muscle with surgical precision. He went down gurgling, surprise frozen on his face. The second warrior fired, but she was already moving, using his dead companion as a shield. Plasma bolts scorched the corpse. She came up under his guard and hamstrung him with a savage cut. He collapsed, screaming. The third warrior was smarter, backing away while his companions closed in from both sides. They'd underestimated her. Again, Maya had spent 9 years preparing for this, 9 years studying Krell anatomy, tactics, psychology. 9 years turning herself into a weapon specifically designed to kill the creatures who'd murdered her mother. The Galactic Defense Academy had been her way in, her chance to get close to the warriors who'd survived Keltar Station. And now they'd delivered themselves to her. She moved through them like death incarnate. Every strike targeted vital points. Every dodge was calculated. The Krell were stronger, faster, more naturally suited for combat. But Maya fought with something they could not match: purpose. More warriors poured from the dropships. Plasma fire lit up the courtyard. Explosions rocked the central tower. Maya lost herself in the rhythm of combat, her body moving on pure instinct while her mind stayed ice cold. She'd trained for this her entire adult life. Everything else had been preparation. This was the moment she'd been born for. A massive Krell, easily 3 meters tall, charged her with a vibro axe. She ducked under his swing, rolled between his legs, and severed his Achilles tendons in one fluid motion. He toppled like a falling tree. She was on him instantly, knife finding the soft spot at the base of his skull. "That is for my mother." Behind her, Commander Thane fought alongside his instructors. The old Valorian moved with surprising speed, his plasma cannon tearing through enemy ranks. But there were too many. For every warrior they killed, 2 more appeared. This was a coordinated assault. Multiple dropships. Hundreds of warriors. Someone had spent years planning this revenge. Maya caught movement from the corner of her eye. Vex was pinned down behind a barricade, 3 Krell warriors advancing on his position. The young cadet fired desperately, but his aim was wild. Fear had stripped away his earlier arrogance. She could let him die. Should let him die. He'd made her life miserable since day one. Instead, she ran toward him. The first warrior never saw her coming. Her knife punched through his kidney, a killing blow that dropped him instantly. The second turned, raising his weapon. Maya threw her second knife with deadly accuracy. It buried itself in his eye socket. The third warrior was faster. His claws raked across her vest, shredding the tactical fabric. Only her combat training saved her. She twisted, taking the blow on reinforced plating rather than her ribs. Pain exploded through her side, but she channeled it into her next move. She grabbed his extended arm and used his own momentum against him, a classic judo throw that sent him crashing into the barricade. Before he could recover, she'd retrieved her knife from the dead warrior's eye and finished him. Vax stared at her, shock written across his features. "You saved me. Do not get used to it." She grabbed his rifle and checked the charge. Half depleted. "Stay behind me and try not to shoot me in the back." They moved together through the chaos. Around them, the battle raged. Cadets fought alongside instructors, many seeing real combat for the first time. The Aquarian she'd helped earlier was using his natural water manipulation abilities to short out enemy weapons. A Draxian cadet had rigged an improvised explosive that took out an entire squad. Humanity was not the only species capable of adaptation under pressure. But the claw kept coming. Wave after wave of warriors, all focused on a single objective. Maya watched their attack patterns, analyzing their movements. They were not trying to kill everyone. They were pushing toward the central tower, toward Commander Thane. She keyed her comm unit. "Commander, this is Cadet Chen. They are after you specifically. This is a targeted assassination." Static answered her. Then Thane's voice strained. "Confirmed. We have identified the leader, Warlord Kreth, commander of the Keltar Station assault teams. He survived our counterattack and has been rebuilding his forces." Maya's vision went red. Kreth, the name that had haunted her nightmares for 9 years. The warrior who'd personally led the assault that killed her mother. Intelligence reports claimed he'd died in the final bombardment of Keltar Station. They'd been wrong. "Where is he?" Her voice sounded distant to her own ears. "Maya, no. Fall back with the other cadets. This is not your fight." "Like hell it is not." She was already moving, leaving Vex behind. "My mother died buying you time to evacuate. Kreth was the one who killed her. This became my fight 9 years ago." "Cadet Chen, that is an order." She cut the connection. The central tower's main entrance was a war zone. Bodies littered the ground, both Krell and Academy personnel. The blast doors had been breached, the reinforced metal peeled back like paper, smoke billowed from the opening. Maya went through without hesitation. Inside, emergency lighting cast everything in shades of red. She moved floor by floor, following the sounds of combat. The Claw warriors had carved a path of destruction through the building. Every classroom, every office, torn apart in their search. She found them on the top floor. Commander Thane stood in his office, plasma cannon empty, holding off 3 warriors with nothing but a ceremonial blade. His armor was scorched and cracked. Green blood, Valorian blood, stained the floor. He was losing. And behind the warriors stood Warlord Kreth. He was enormous, even by Krell standards. His scales were dark as midnight, marked with ritual scars that told the story of 100 battles. In his hands he held a plasma lance, its tip still glowing from recent kills. His eyes found Maya, and recognition flickered across his face. The ghost's offspring. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. I wondered if you would appear. Your mother had that same look before she died, defiant to the end. Maya stepped into the room, both knives ready. Tell me something. Did she beg? Chris laughed. Never. We shot her, stabbed her, tore her apart piece by piece. She simply kept fighting. It took 17 of us to bring her down. His crest flared with respect. She was magnificent. Good to know. Maya's hands were steady, because I inherited that particular quality. 3 of us killed her. Kreth gestured to the warriors flanking him. We 3 are all that remain of that glorious battle. The Valorians' bombardment took the others. We have spent 9 years rebuilding, waiting for our chance at revenge. How poetic. Maya's smile was all teeth. Because I have also spent 9 years preparing. She moved. The first warrior died in 3 seconds. Maya fainted high, went low and opened his femoral artery with a precision cut. He hit the ground bleeding out. The second warrior was more cautious, backing away while his companions circled. They tried to flank her. Basic tactics. Effective against most opponents. Maya was not most opponents. She'd fought Krell in simulation 10,000 times. She knew their patterns, their preferred attacks, their weaknesses. When the second warrior lunged, she was ready. She caught his claws on her reinforced vambress and drove her knife up under his jaw. The blade punched through his soft palate into his brain. The third warrior hesitated. Fatal mistake. Maya closed the distance and delivered a devastating combination. Throat, kidney, hamstring. He collapsed, drowning in his own blood. That left Kreth. The warlord watched his warriors die without expression. Impressive. Your mother would be proud. Save it. Maya circled him slowly. You killed her. Now I kill you. We can make this quick or we can make it hurt. I am good with either option. You believe yourself capable of defeating me? Kreth's amusement was genuine. I am a warlord. I have led armies, conquered worlds. Your mother was a worthy opponent, but even she fell before me. She was protecting civilians, had to hold position. Maya's voice went cold. I have no such restrictions. She attacked without warning. Kreth was fast, faster than his subordinates. His plasma lance intercepted her first strike, the weapons clashing with a screech of metal on energy. Maya rolled under his counter, came up behind him and scored a hit across his back plates. The knife skittered off his heavy armor. He spun, the lance humming. She dodged, the weapon missing her face by centimeters. The heat from its passage singed her hair. Kreth pressed his advantage, driving her back with a series of brutal strikes. Maya gave ground strategically, analyzing his pattern. The lance had reach and power, but it was slow to redirect. If she could get inside his guard, there, she feinted left, committed right, and dove under his swing. Her knife found the joint at his elbow, severing tendons. His grip on the lance weakened. She pressed the attack, targeting his other arm. The blade bit deep. The plasma lance clattered to the floor. Kreth backhanded her with his wounded arm. Even injured, the blow sent her flying. She hit the wall hard enough to crack the smart glass. Pain exploded through her ribs. Something definitely broke. She forced herself upright, spitting blood. Kreth retrieved his lance with his offhand. You fight well, little human. Better than I expected. But you lack the killing instinct. Your mother had it. She understood that sometimes the only path forward is through blood. Oh, I understand blood just fine. Maya wiped her mouth. I have been studying it for 9 years. Krell blood specifically. She pulled a small cylinder from her vest. Kreth's eyes widened in recognition. A biotoxin injector, illegal in 14 systems. Designed specifically to target Krell physiology. Where did you acquire that? For the first time, uncertainty crept into his voice. Made it myself. Maya's thumb hovered over the trigger. Turns out there are patterns in Krell DNA. Weaknesses that can be exploited if you know where to look. This particular formula causes cascading organ failure. Very painful. Very thorough. I have been saving it for someone special. She threw it. Kreth tried to dodge, but his injuries slowed him. The injector hit his chest and discharged automatically. He roared, clawing at the device, but the toxin was already spreading through his bloodstream. You staggered, his legs giving out poison. Coward's weapon. Mom always told me to use every advantage. Maya approached slowly. She would have used it too if she'd had the chance, but she was too busy being honorable. Holding the line. Saving lives. She knelt beside him as he convulsed. I am not that noble. I just wanted you dead. Kreth's breathing turned ragged. Finish it. Warrior's death? No. Maya stood and backed away. You get to die slowly, in pain, knowing a human beat you. Just like you made my mother die. She turned to Commander Thane. The old Valorian was watching her with an unreadable expression. Around them, the sounds of combat had faded. The battle was over. Is it done? Thane asked quietly. Maya looked at Kreth's twitching form. Look, it is done. Silence stretched between them. Outside, emergency services were arriving. Medical teams, security forces. The academy would survive this attack. Casualties had been surprisingly light thanks to the cadets' quick response. Thanks to Maya's intervention. You planned this. Thane's voice was not accusing. Just tired. You came to the academy knowing they would attack eventually. I suspected, could not be certain. Maya holstered her knives, but I knew Kreth survived. Knew he would want revenge. You were the logical target. So you made yourself bait. I made myself a solution. She met his three-eyed gaze. My mother saved you. Saved hundreds of civilians. Got nothing for it except a shallow grave on a forgotten station. I figured I owed her some payback. Thane clicked his mandibles slowly. She saved us because it was right. Not for recognition. I know. Maya's voice softened, but I am not her. I am the person she died to protect. And I decided that the bastards who killed her did not get to walk away. You violated at least 15 regulations tonight, used an illegal bioweapon, withheld intelligence about a potential attack. Thane paused. You also saved countless lives and eliminated a major threat to galactic security. So what happens now? The commander looked at her for a long moment. Then he smiled, a gesture that looked strange on his alien features. Now you finish your training, graduate. Become the officer your mother would have wanted you to be. His expression hardened. But you do it honestly. No more secrets. No more vendetta missions. Can you accept that? Maya thought about it. The revenge she'd spent 9 years pursuing was complete. Kreth was dying. The claw of Keltar was broken. Her mother could rest. What came next was up to her. I can accept that. Good. Thane offered his hand. Then welcome to the Galactic Defense Academy, Cadet Chen. The real one. Where you do not have to hide what you are capable of. She shook it. Human custom meeting Valorian tradition. Outside, the sun was rising. The academy would need to rebuild. Many had been wounded. Some had died. But they'd survived an assault that should have destroyed them, because they'd fought together. Every species. Every cadet. United against a common enemy. Maybe Earth really did belong in the galactic community after all. Maya found Vex in the medical bay getting his cuts treated. The young Krell looked up as she approached, weariness in his eyes. She'd expected anger, resentment. Instead she saw something else. Respect. You fought well, he said grudgingly. For a mammal, you did not run when it mattered. She sat beside him. For a bully, his crest fluttered. I am sorry. Before, the mess hall, I was taught that strength is all that matters, that the weak should be culled. And now I have seen a human half my size kill warriors who would terrify my sire. Vex looked at his claws. Perhaps my people have much to learn about true strength. Maya smiled. Perhaps we all do. They sat together in companionable silence while medical teams bustled around them. Two cadets from species that should have been enemies. Finding common ground in the aftermath of violence. Finding something that might become friendship. Across the galaxy, news of the attack spread. The claw of Keltar destroyed by Academy cadets, led by a human, the species that everyone had dismissed as weak, primitive, beneath notice. Humanity had just proven itself in the most violent way possible, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. 3 months later, Maya stood in formation with her graduating class. She'd finished in the top 10, her earlier subterfuge abandoned, her true capabilities revealed. Other cadets no longer whispered about the weak human. They spoke of Maya Chen with respect, some with fear. Commander Thane approached, carrying a small box. "Cadet Chen, please step forward." She obeyed, heart pounding, for exceptional valor in combat, for saving the lives of multiple cadets and instructors, for eliminating a credible threat to galactic security. Thane opened the box. Inside lay a medal she recognized, the Star of Valor. "I present you with the highest honor the Galactic Defense Force can bestow." He pinned it to her uniform. "This award is given in your name," he continued. "But we both know who truly earned it. Your mother protected those who could not protect themselves. She held the line when retreat would have been easier. She gave everything so others could live." His voice thickened with emotion. "Captain Sarah Chen should have received this medal 9 years ago. Consider this her legacy, passed to her worthy daughter." Maya's vision blurred. She'd spent so long focused on revenge that she'd forgotten about honor, about doing the right thing, about being the person her mother had raised her to be. "Thank you, sir." "No." Thane placed a hand on her shoulder. "Thank you for reminding us all what humanity is truly capable of." The ceremony concluded. Cadets dispersed to celebrate. Maya found a quiet corner of the academy grounds and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the light years and nebulae, Earth spun in its lonely orbit. Home. She would return someday. But first, she had work to do. The galaxy was dangerous, full of threats, full of species that preyed on the weak, and Maya Chen had just proven that humanity was anything but weak. She touched the medal on her chest.
"I did it, Mom. They know now. They all know."
The stars offered no answer, but somehow she felt her mother's presence, felt her approval, felt her pride. Maya Chen walked back toward the academy, ready for whatever came next. The predators of the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the prey, because sometimes the prey bites back, and when humanity bites, we do not let go.